The story is in the chant. The battle began in Tahiti when Namaka, the sea goddess, sent tidal waves to destroy the home of her mortal sister Pele. Pele fled to Kauai, but Namaka found her and chased her from island to island before killing her. But Pele was not to be dismissed. She returned to Mother Earth, reborn the fire goddess of Kilauea.
We honor and respect Pele in her dance form when we perform. And so when we do that and we see that, we try to become that in the dance. The movements of fire, the movement and the temperament of who Pele is should always be evident, I believe, in Pele hulas. And in hula is also the language and events that happen in the lives of our ancient people.
The ancients would have never dreamed that one day in the 21st century, a geophysicist of Hawaiian blood would become one of the world's foremost authorities on the science behind the volcano. Jim Kawahikawa spends many days and nights walking the crater, studying Kilauea's every movement.
It's probably the only time in the history of volcanology that we've had such a long eruption that we've had the instrumentation that we have now to study it. So we can look at patterns in the eruptive behavior or the way that lava flows move, the way the channels and lava tubes form. We can set up experiments that we can then do over and over again over the span of several years. It's an unprecedented opportunity to study all these things.
Jim uses global positioning satellite to mark each flow he records.
This is a sample of that lava lobe over there, and we'll take this back to the observatory, crush it, and we'll send it in for analyses. And it's a really good way of measuring how much the chemistry of the lava is changing during the eruption. Little changes in like the magnesium content or something could tell us about whether the lava is coming out hotter or colder than in previous times, and that might be a clue as to what the eruption is going to do next. That's a place where lava actually got thrown out. So all that stuff, you see the sort of modelly nature of it. But this was really cool. And you can see the little channel in front. So we've got pictures of the insides all glowing and a little channel running down the side.
Occasionally, the ground will open up and reveal a lava tube. This is called a skylight. Because these tubes insulate rivers of lava from heat loss, the lava is much more fluid. Close to the ocean, there is sometimes a violent meeting of nature when seawater infiltrates a lava tube system. These are called literal explosions. The volcano goes through phases. Some areas become dormant, but are still very active. Kawahikawa says scientists consider 4 volcanoes in Hawaii active: Kilauea, Mauna Loa, Haleakala on Maui, and Hula Halau, upon which much of Kailua Kona is built.
It probably erupts 2 or 3 times every 1,000 years, so it's like every 200-300 years. And the volcano and its vents are so close to areas that people have developed that if Hula Halau erupts again, it's almost certain to be a big catastrophe. Well, I shouldn't say if, when it erupts again, because it will erupt again.
Mick Kalber is a videographer who has compiled perhaps the most significant video documentation of Kilauea over the past 20 years. Kalber says he became mesmerized with Kilauea the first time he witnessed it, and has recorded the volcano's activity ever since.
What's happening? Whoa! Big one, G, big one. Looks good.
Mick considers himself privileged to live in Pele's playground.
There's all these different things we need to contend with out here. We have to deal with the weather, with the rain, with the clouds, whether we've got direct sunlight or we've got diffused light. It's always something. There's things blowing in your eyes, there's steam, there's smoke. Sometimes the smoke blows that way, sometimes it blows this way. Sometimes you can't stand up here and shoot it, you know. Sometimes it's too gaseous, you have to wear your mask. Sometimes you just can't do it at all. And the pieces where we're standing out here are eventually going to fall into the crater. So we have to be careful where we walk. You know, we don't want to go too close to the edge. Some of the edges are hanging over without anything under to support them. So we have to look before we leap. We have to be really careful out here.
Like Kawahikawa, Calvert continues to be drawn to the volcano. In fact, Mick often videotapes Jim and other scientists at work for the U.S. Geological Survey. Though Mick has been doing this for years, he can't seem to get enough.
I love it here. The volcano is just so hypnotic. It's so outrageous. I just love it.
Powerful Kilauea is revered. Even those who live by science suggest some of the stories told in ancient chants can be validated.
It's been an important area of research up at the observatory in terms of explaining the history of the summit area of Kilauea. It turns out that Kilauea has had a more explosive history than we've imagined in the past. And some of these stories actually speak directly to its explosive nature.
Many people believe the volcano speaks to them.
It has its way of touching the Hawaiian spirit. So in a way I would say it does.
Pele, the goddess of fire, continues her battle with her sister Namaka, the goddess of the sea. When the two forces meet, it is violent, but beautiful. And in this case, it is the beginning of something new. Down near the southern tip of the Big Island lies Miloli'i, one of the last traditional Hawaiian fishing villages.
It's like people in town get 2-3 cars. I don't know why, but we get 2-3 boats.
Folks in Miloli'i still live without many of the modern comforts. Water is brought in by truck to supplement catchment tanks. Fishermen have replaced canoes with modern boats. But Hawaiians in Miloli'i still fish for opelu the way they have for centuries. Willie Kalpiko spends many a day and night fishing for opelu, has for most of his life. Today he has brought along his friend Roscoe. Willie completely understands the currents and knows exactly where each koa is, each coral head where the fish live. He feeds the fish regularly, but does not always try to catch them. Willie says what he feeds the fish is the essence of the art of opelu fishing.
Yeah, the fish, they're pretty akamai, you know what I mean? So you give them nice food, they'll behave nicely. And that's the whole idea when you come opelu. It's all organic, all health food. So you see these avocados, all from the Big Island, all grown up on the road. The Hawaiians, they used to use taro. But now taro's so expensive, we gotta use, you know, something easy and faster. So we use oatmeal. And the reason why we use organic food is because we don't want the big fish come around the core.
By using organic chum, Willie doesn't attract larger predators that will break his nets. When he is ready to feed the fish, the chum is put into a ka'ai, a weight is added, and the process of chumming in the fish begins. One yank of the line releases the chum.
It's not like any kind of fishing. You gotta know about this opelu. You don't wanna scare the fish, you don't wanna hit the bowl. Chum gotta be all perfect so the fish is not frisky, huh?
Willie says the fish koas continue to provide because the fishermen continue to malama them, care for them.
This is like your garden, you know, like your garden where you plant. This is how it is. You come here, take care of the koa, the fish take care of you. Wait. You don't go too much. Watch the net. Grab down the net. You always, when you catch fish like that, you always gotta say mahalo ke kua. You thank the Lord above for supplying these resources for our needs, and so beautiful. You know, it's a natural high when you catch fish like this. You know. We gotta open it back. Open.
Life in Miloli'i is tough, but full of blessings. Willie and a handful of others do things the old way, because as they see it, there is no improving tradition. Waipio Valley on the Big Island's north shore is one of nature's treasures. The valley is huge, a mile wide on the coastline, more than 5 miles deep. The valley is fertile, abundant water making it ideal for the cultivation of taro. Thousands of Hawaiians once lived in the valley. Today, just a few farms remain. It has been nearly a half-century since Roy Toko first started farming taro in Waipio Valley. He and his wife Gladys still live in the same house they built so long ago.
To be honest, what makes it, it's the peace and serenity of the valley. And you really gotta love the aina.
Roy's two sons, Alston and Naaman, now toil in the same fields they couldn't wait to flee as young men. Alston no sooner graduated from high school when he enlisted in the service, vowing never to return to this way of life.
I had to go see for myself. And, you know, working in a taro patch at the time, being a teenager, is pretty rough work. You know, you'd rather be at the beach surfing or doing something. But, you know, every time we came to the valley was taking a left turn and going to the taro patch instead of the right turn to the beach.
When he went off to the service, we prayed. We asked God to kind of protect him. And then when he said he's going and he never come back on this rock, we were sad. And when he went far from home, he found out for himself that cannot be home. So he came back and he asked us for Taro. The father and I was happy.
Alston was away for 5 years, but he returned when he felt the valley calling him home. Naaman also ventured away to work on the sugar plantation, where he learned he could make more money doing less hard labor. But he too returned to Waipio.
I guess as you get older, you learn a lot. When you was young, you was, you know, doing things that young kids do. But as you grow older, you appreciate the land.
You know, people say taro patch, taro work is a very hard job. It is, I'll be honest with you. But if you're a person that loves the work, you feel really, really rewarded. Even if you're tired, I feel really rewarded.
Naaman and Alston both say the reason they farm the land goes way beyond the side income they make.
The culture, you know, preserving the culture, because we're doing this for a living, but yet we kind of preserving the culture in a way.
When I die, I know I'll die in peace because I know that the land is still going to be cared for.
after I'm done here, I don't know who's going to carry on. Hopefully one of my kids or whoever, but a family member. But right now, at least for the next 20, 30 years, I know I'm still going to be here working the land.
Roy and Gladys's sons have returned home. The Toko family is together again, farming taro and Waipio. It is the life they choose. The town of Waimea, now called Kamuela, was established for Parker Ranch, which first started running cattle in the early 1800s. Today, Parker Ranch spans more than 200,000 acres and lies between Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea volcanoes. It is one of the largest privately owned cattle ranches in the United States. In recent years, it has become a cow-calf operation, breeding up to 20,000 cows a year. Sonny Keakealani begins nearly every day the way he has most of his life, by saddling his horse. Breeding season on Parker Ranch has ended, and it is time to separate the bulls from the rest of the herd. These cowboys are so good at what they do, only a handful of them are needed to round up over 1,000 head of cattle. Once the herd is brought into a single paddock, they begin cutting the cows from the bulls. Sonny Keakealani is a fifth-generation Paniolo. To watch him work is to watch one of the best in the business.
I love the lifestyle. I was brought up like this, and I'm happy what I do. It's all from here.
The thing about Sonny is, more than anything, is he's just very conscientious. He really loves what he's doing. He takes a lot of pride. All our people do take pride in what they're doing, but Sonny, for some reason, has a real feel for cows.
Go get him, bring him back.
The cowboys demand much from their horses, which is why each Paniolo is given 7 or 8 of them. When doing a job like this, you need an experienced horse.
You use a solid horse, something like maybe 6-7 years old. Then that's when, like us Hawaiians, we call them solid. That's why I use the word solid horse. It's about 6, 7, 8 years old.
Cowboys in Hawaii are well known for their skills. Sonny was taught a disciplined work ethic at an early age, and you can see that same attitude in his crew. When they pick up their wages, they know they've earned them.
I mean, we cowboy over here. We cowboy. We're rough, you know. And one thing I can say, as far as handling ourselves, we don't baby ourselves.
It's hard work, but the cowboys who ride for Parker Ranch consider themselves privileged, and the ranch feels fortunate to have them, especially Sonny Keakealani, who figures to be in the saddle for a long time to come. Diversity is what makes this island so unique. Traditions continue here, as does the search for new knowledge. There is continued rebirth, rebuilding, new upon the old. It is a blueprint for a lifestyle perpetuated and embraced in this place we call the Big Island.